Hi, Michelle Strickland here from Melior Consulting. So today's topic is, should I do a Roth contribution or Roth conversion? The first, Roth contribution. If you are over the income limit, and that income, limit was going to change based on if you're married, filing joint, or single, we can give you the exact number from the IRS because they index it every year, but you're going to want to double check. If you're making over 150,000 joint, you're typically going to exceed the ability to make a Roth contribution. You're going to be stuck with the traditional. There is the backdoor option, and then there are a few more steps to get there. If you have a Roth 401k through your employer, then there is no income limit. So there's a difference between Roth IRA versus Roth 401k on the contribution side. Second, Roth conversions. And this is something you really need to think of in terms of the whole time horizon, not just this year. A lot of the tax planning, tax world is thinking about your taxes that you owe in your lifetime, right? Not just every year, how can I maximize my deduction? The big pie is the tax that you owe throughout your lifetime. And that's why people, look at trusts and all those types of vehicles. One of those tax bracket management systems is looking at your Roth conversions. And the reason why is traditional IRAs, traditional non-Roth accounts in your retirement, they're going to have RMDs. And so you're going to have an RMD that will trigger right when you start retiring, maybe around 73. And an RMD is a percentage that you have to take out of your retirement account. And so if you have huge amounts in your retirement account, say you have $1 million, 6%, you're going to have really large distributions every year. You're going to owe income tax on those distributions. Roth retirement accounts are not subject to RMD. So you don't have to take distributions out of your Roth accounts. The benefit is that you don't have to take out distributions. You don't owe tax on those distributions. So the question is, if you've built up all of those retirement accounts in your non-Roth, should you make the conversion? And so the question is when, how much, and just how to do it mechanically, right? When do you plan to do that? And typically you don't want to make a huge Roth conversion, right? Just in 1 year, because you're going to have a huge tax bill. When you convert it, you owe tax on that conversion. You want to look at when you're going to retire, kind of your whole portfolio, your plans for retirement. When are you going to retire? How much cash do you have in those years, to pay off the tax on the conversion? Another factor is, what's your income? Are you going to be working a full-time job like your regular career, or are you going to be scaling down, traveling? Those years you're going to have a lower tax rate because you're not going to have your regular income. Those are all things to factor into making a Roth conversion. So just like, the S corporation election, should I do it? It's really fact dependent. Please work with your CPA when you want to make those conversions, and you want to plan them out ahead of time. In order to, when you want to make those conversions, remember with the Roth, they have to sit in there for 5 years before you can take the distributions out tax-free. So there's a lot of requirements, moving pieces. Just so you know, it's definitely possible. You definitely want to make your Roth conversions if you've built up huge non-Roth, like traditional retirement accounts. And so if you want to kind of split that up and limit your exposure to RMD, the conversion is a great way to kind of have a more balanced portfolio. And then you're going to be able to manage your tax bracket better as you get closer to retirement. And it's a long time horizon, I know, but it comes up soon, comes up quickly. And when you work with your financial advisor and your CPA, just think, what am I going to be doing in those years? Am I going to be working a full-time job? I'm going to have income. Those are going to be high tax years. If you're going to have lower tax years, then it might be better to do a conversion in those years. So plan ahead, talk with your CPA on those Roth conversions, and then on those Roth contributions, make sure you're under the income limit. And if not, you might have to do a backdoor. And then obviously you're not going to be subject to the income requirement if you're doing a Roth 401k. So that is my Roth topic for today. There's lots to talk about. So happy to answer your questions. Send them our way.